Yeah, it's me, Donald Muel. What's going on, everybody? I know. I'm very late. I know. But how are we all doing? What's going on? It's good to see you. What is happening? Thanks for the follow. We got some amazing people in the chat already. Let's go with that. Lorelei Lime, Bass Junkie, Shafiq, Ted Tiny Kittens, Chloe, Goblin Hugger, Realist French Fry, Muel Yorks, Sophie from Mars, Beanie Gaby. What's going on, everyone? How's it going? A Dr. Joctor is never late. I know, but I was hoping to be earlier than this today. Rain Trigger, what's going on? Welcome in. We've already got some amazing streamers in the chat that you should go and check out. Shafiq has already given a shout out to Sophie. Thank you very much for that. You should, of course, go and follow my beautiful and good friend, Sophie, because she's beautiful and good. And that's just reason enough, isn't it? Also, Prince is here. Hello, Prince. In terms of streamers, we've also got Mix Chloe B and Goblin Hugger. Can I get a shout out for both of those, please? Shafiq and or TTK. Up to you. Whichever one you want to do. Or if you want to do two, I don't care. I don't have a limit on who does things. TTK got in there right before you there, Shafiq. Unfortunately, he cut right in. Shpoom. That's the noise that he made when he went in. Shpoom. Straight in there to give you the shout out. So there you go. So go follow those amazing streamers that are in my chat, because I'm very privileged. Some call me the streamer's streamer, you know. They don't. They never call me that. So yeah, yes, I know TTK is the more experienced mod. I'm letting you off. But first, let me tell you why I was late today. There is a new patron-only post up on my Patreon, so if you aren't my Patreon, then you should do that. You should go and be a patron, and then you can have a look at the latest Patreon post that is up there, and I'm going to try and, like, I don't know, share it somehow. I'm not really used to Patreon. But it's up there. But it basically explains as to why I was late, why I've had a big busy day today. I was filming for my next video on YouTube, which is going to be about Berserk. And you can learn more about it and see more of the behind the scenes shots that I uploaded today if you become a patron and go over to the I was trying to get a link, but I don't know how to do this, so I'm just going to drop a link to my Patreon in the chat, so go ahead and check that out. There's some cool images that the videographer, my good friend Bradders, took while we were filming today, which was very nice. We got a lot of good shots. The production is looking amazing. It's going to be done a lot sooner than I thought it would be, so yeah, buzzing for that. Other than that, I also had to chair the member solidarity meeting for the tenants union, and we had a lot to discuss. The union is growing quite a bit, much to the dismay and glee of me and the other members and committee members, so that means that things have to be organised in a different way. I'm now basically a main organiser, and I do it all voluntarily, so, you know, that's a thing that's happened. I'm in like a really weird situation right now where, you know, the thing that I do that feels the most like work, I don't get paid for, but I'm still happy to do it. And then the thing that I do get paid for doesn't feel like work, and I'm still happy to do it. So I'm in a blessed but cursed situation, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's very odd. Rain Trigger Yellow joined a few days ago. Thank you so much for supporting the tenants union, Rain Trigger Yellow. That's really fucking awesome. I really love to hear that, honestly. Thank you for joining. We've got some new people in the chat. We've got Yanshifim, we've got Julia, we've got Vordrella. How are you all doing? How's your day going? How's chat's day going? What are you all up to? What's good? What's good? What's bad? What's medium? What's middle, neutral, don't care. Like, I've not been online remotely today. I've not seen any takes. It's been a take-free day, which is always good. That's, you know, pretty interesting. Mythically blessed. That's right. Sleepy but happy. Good to hear it. Yeah, what's average? Yeah. What's going on that's like average? It's cold. It's cold, isn't it? It is cold. I'm sick as hell and feeling sorry for myself. That's awful, Juliet. And I want to get some love emotes in the chat for Juliet. But what I will say is that reminds me very much of the call to action that the guy in Network says. And if you remember the guy in Network... Okay, that was supposed to say, fuck yeah, union work. Yanchifim, thank you so much for the £10. Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch and supporting the stream. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing that. I really, really, really appreciate that. Ratau is not a love emote, I'm afraid. No, I want heart emotes. Emotes that look like a heart or look like a hug with a little heart. It's similar to the call to arms, the call to action that the news reporter from the film Network says, isn't it? When he's there and he's doing his thing and he's trying to get people mobilized and out into the streets. He says, I want you to stand up and say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. And that's kind of like what Juliet said, apart from what Juliet said was, I'm sick as hell and feeling sorry for myself. So the kind of, it's like the same amount of syllables or something. You know, it's like a haiku, but not. So there you go. We've also got Cryptid is over Crypto with the chat. Cryptid's over Crypto with the chat. How are you doing? Good to see you. Welcome in. Huskadoo. It's good to see you. Everyone. There is a professional chatter in the chat. I want everyone on the best behavior. Huskadoo is here. This is sarcasm, just in case everybody doesn't know. It's just a bit that we do when Husker comes into the chat, because he is a professional chatter, and that's what's going on. What else do we got here as well? TTK says he thought his boyfriend's Christmas present was lost in the post, but the tracking finally updated after a whole week. Let's fucking go. Nice. Real Frenchist Fry says, I've seen some takes today, mostly from elected politicians. They do have takes, don't they? They have been known to have takes. Yeah, so not ideal really, is it? Not ideal. Cryptid says, howdy Muel, you're one of the top streamers I watched this year. Lots of people saying I'm one of the top streamers that they watched this year, and I honestly, folks, it means the world, like it really does, that you're out here supporting me. Like, I know that a lot of people donate to the stream and a lot of people give money to the stream and stuff like that, and that's really appreciated. But the bread and butter, as it were, vegan butter, if you're a vegan, is people just coming and being here in the stream and watching, because that is what drives me up in the, you know, directory of Twitch. That's what attracts new people to the stream and stuff like that. And the more people that come to the stream, the more people that could potentially, you know, give me money to live and survive and do the activism and the work that I love to do. So yeah, I really appreciate all the people who've spent all their time, well, the majority of their time on Twitch anyway, supporting me today. So love that. Lorelei says, nice, good to see that stuff. In other news, as of coming Monday, I'll be a queer kind of counselor for my org. So if queer people have problems, they'll be pointed towards my direction. Buzzing, but also a bit nervous. Lorelei, I can't say how proud I am of you enough. Like, I really think it's awesome that, you know, you're getting out there and you're getting involved with Last Generation, and now you're at this, like, you know, point in the organization where, you know, people are coming to you for help and shit like that. Yeah, you're gonna kill it. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, fucking brilliant. Let's go. Adam Warlock's here as well. Hello, Adam. Welcome in. Don't worry, you can still lurk if you like. Won't make you say anything. Good to see you in the chat anyway. Shafiq says, I'm okay. Need to go outside tomorrow because the pharmacy didn't have your meds in. Yes, that would be ideal if you got your meds, wouldn't it? Yeah. It would be ideal if that was the case. Who else do we got? Husker is paid to chat for a living. That's right. Standards to maintain. Blumhouse says, evening Mark and folks, and then follows up with a confused Mark, question mark. Yes, my name is not Mark. Muel renamed to Mark. No, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want to be caught. I don't want to be Mark. God damn it. What's that about? But hello, Blumhouse. How you doing? It's good to see you. Need to re-up mine as well. Hello, Garden of Delete. Welcome in. You're all proper lovely. We are proper lovely here, aren't we? That's what I pride myself on. That's what I pride myself on, like having a community that is like lovely and everyone's nice and lovely. And if anyone's got like the hint of bad vibes, they're out. That's just it. The Gospels according to Matthew, Muel, Luke, and Jonald. It's me. Literally me. Yeah, that's what I do. So yeah, I've not really got much else to tell you. Like I told you everything about what I did on the weekend on Monday. Monday's stream, if you weren't here, if you missed a lot of it, listen, it was amazing. I don't know what the fuck, like, I feel like sometimes when I do like the best streams ever, I have like the least people in my stream of the month. It's like, you know, I know that like Kira was streaming and stuff and she was having a bad day, so I appreciate that people went to see her. But if you get a chance to check out the VOD channel of Monday's stream, you really should. You really, 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 really need to, because fucking hell, it was good. Like, you know, just to fill people in who like weren't here, they couldn't make it or whatever. We did AI political stories, and we sort of combined that with like AI political art. And so what we did, like, for example, one of the stories that we had was like, I put into Midjourney, because I got a free trial on Midjourney, and I put in like the prompt that someone in the chat had said, which was Jair Bolsonaro as a living avatar of disease and decay. And then we got that as an image, and then we got chatbot GPT to make a story about it, and then we read that story, and it was really good. The Richard Spencer one was mental. Like that, at that point, I was really thinking that my mind was gonna break when, you know, just sort of like it expanded on it, and how quickly the chatbot just sort of like did the story. Yeah, you gotta check out the VOD channel. If you go !socials and check out the VOD channel. Marina, you gotta see them. Dun, 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 dun. That song's about weed. Anyway, Marina, how's it going? What am I doing? Oh, I gotta get off this. Marina, how you doing? Everybody should go and follow Marina because they are cool. They are based. Like, what else can I say about Marina? Extremely gorgeous, pretty. I don't know, like handsome, like, you know, literally everything. Like, I literally cannot recommend Marina enough. We're twins. We are literally the same person. You know, I really do hope that you're gonna shave your head, because then we can just be twinning, to be honest. Please, please, please go and show him some love. We've already got a shout out from Marina. Thank you, TTK. How was your stream? What were you up to? Doing a bit of Skyrim? I love a bit of Skyrim. It's been a long time since I played it. You know, I hope that you had a nice time doing that stream over there. Welcome in if you're coming in from Marina stream and you don't know me. My name's djmuel. I'm a political leftist streamer. My pronouns are he, him. At the minute, we're just sort of like, I don't know, talking about stuff. I don't know. Donald, did you see the DSA chapter that saying that not crossing picket lines was ultra-left cultism? No, I didn't. But now you've told me about that, and I'm worse off for it, aren't I? Like, that's the worst thing that anyone's ever said. Twins, maybe in summer when it's warm. Listen, you do what you want. You do what you want. But, yeah. It is. It's perfect Skyrim weather because it's cold as fuck, isn't it? Yeah. North Star. Hey, Alejandro. What's going on? Welcome in. Hello, Comrade Unix. Welcome in. Democratic Scabs of America. Real free co-ops hours. Yeah. DSA more like LLL. That's right. Yeah, that's right. God damn it. I hate that. That sucks so bad. Yeah, no, I didn't hear about that, but now I have heard about that. Thank you for letting us know, Sophie. Where was I? I don't even know what I was saying before Marina raided. What was I saying? Chat, it's your job to remember what I was saying. Oh, yeah, the AI thing. Yeah, so if you missed the VOD on Monday, go and check it out. It was very fun. Listen, I don't have anything like that for you today. I can't even sell the stream for anyone today. I've got nothing. There's nothing good going on here. It's just going to be normal. It's just going to be me, just stuff. It's going to be like this. It's going to be like this, just going on for an hour or so. Maybe, like, you know, yeah, for another 2 hours. It's just going to be me sort of, like, going on like this. So that's it. DSA is the closest thing to a centralized socialist org, and it's still compatible as fuck. What do you mean by compatible? Sorry, I'm not following there. Community and caring for literally anyone but yourself. Ultra-left cultism. I mean, look, like, you know, it's just the most absurd thing, isn't it? It's like individualist, neoliberal brain rot has infected the Democratic Socialist Party. I guess at one point in time they were like good. I don't know much about the history of it, but like it seems like that's what's happened, and none of that is good for anybody. Rebel Firestorm, how you doing? Welcome in. Yeah, just chat for 2 hours. Like, we'll probably watch a leftist video essay. Yeah, we'll probably watch that. Yeah, we'll probably. I've got a couple that I want to watch. And, you know, we can react to that. We do that stuff, don't we? Yeah, they forgot what the S stands for. They did, didn't they? And the D. Yeah. Yeah, don't cross picket lines. Yeah, labor strikes are our most powerful tool as the working class. That's right. DSA probably wants those workers to just vote. Yes, and probably give money to a certain streamer's super PAC. Which is a thing that happens. And that's that, essentially. So there you go. It's just too viable for people with no principles. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. That makes sense, Alejandro. Okay, so listen. Yeah, we are going to be doing stuff. I am going to be, you know, checking out. Let's have a little look here. What have I got for you? What have I got for you in the watch later list, eh? Oh, the new Red Planet's up, by the way, on the Red Planet channel. You got to go and check that out. Obviously not now. Watch me stream instead, and then go and watch that later. So you can go and check that out. It was a very, very, very good episode. A lot of good points about starting organizing in there, because the organization that we spoke to, Red Roots Collective, Sarab, you know, it was a very, you know, it's a very young organization in the grand scheme of things. And they were even asking me and Tim for suggestions on how to move forward. And unfortunately, you know, we didn't really have many, because it's just me and Tim. We're just little scrunkly guys, you know what I mean? Like, we just kind of sat there and went, oh, I don't know, like, that's what we got you on to talk about. But yeah, you can watch me and Tim struggle through that section of the stream, if you like, on the channel. Stick it in your watch later playlist. But yeah, like I said, I got some. You were just about to watch that VOD of the episode of Red Planet when you went live. Well, you can watch it when I go unlive, can't you? Or offline, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, watch later playlist. I have got I think it's a Tara Mooney video I wanted to watch. Yeah, okay, this is what I want to watch. I want to watch... There's a couple here that I want to watch, and I want to watch the Kaylin Conrad one and the Tara Mooney one. No! Sorry, no, there's something that we must... Listen, there's something that we must actually... excuse me. We must actually watch before any of that, and it's the new Andrewism video. And I personally believe that everybody needs to watch this. Absolutely everybody needs to watch this. I don't give a shit what you say. We're watching Andrewism's new video. It's called A Practical Guide to Revolution. Now, I've heard some criticisms of this that are based in individualist ideological grounds, and I understand them, but I also think if you are going to have a reactionary opinion on this video based on that specifically, I'm not sure how much I actually value your opinion. The thing in question that people have criticized about this, generally speaking, is there is a bit of a bit that Andrew and a couple other people, Turb, I think, and someone else, do, where they basically do 1984, but if you're a leftist, and it's sort of talking about authoritarian communism, the things that happened under Stalin, the things that have happened in various other socialist states where, you know, people are still led to work and filling quotas, and it's basically capitalism, but, you know, the workers aren't actually, like, you know, liberated and stuff like that. And it's an okay criticism to have. That's fine. You can criticize it for that if you want, but I think it's necessary to bring up things that have happened under authoritarian dictatorship-based regimes that have ultimately ended up destroying the socialist utopia that could have been possible without those things. So that's the title of the video. That's what we're going with. I just got a little bit of stuff to change on the main scene, so bear with me a tick there. I think there's only really a content warning for violence / state. I think state violence, you know? So that would be stuff like prisons and police and all that kind of stuff. So let's have a little look about what I can call this segment. I'll just call it the title of the video. A practical guide to revolution. Okay. Phenomenal. We're moving to the next scene. There it is. You know what to do here, folks. Whenever we watch a leftist video essay, share the video, watch the video in a muted tab alongside the stream. Give the video a like, subscribe to Andrewism if you're not already. He's an absolutely incredible guy. Really, really good content creator, deserves all your love. We're going to watch the video, but it would be really, really awesome if you lot could go and comment on the video, subscribe, and give him a like, and share, and tell your friends about, you know, what's going on with the video and stuff like that, because it's really good. I watched it the other day. I think I watched it on Zakap's stream. I can't remember. But yeah, we're going to watch it again here, and you can get my take on it. So there you go. The idea of don't criticize past mistakes of communist leaderships, you're giving power to capitalists, is one I don't agree with. Yeah. It doesn't make sense because, again, like, you know, like, communism is not this, like, monolithic ideology where it's like, you know, it's been implemented perfectly every single time it's happened, and we have to, like, at least admit to that. Like, it's not giving any power to capitalists by saying, like, you know, it needs to be done better. Like, if anything, that's giving power to ourselves, because we're then, you know, preempting the potential problems, you know, in a revolution. Right? That's what's happening there. So, anyway, let's see what Andrewism's got to say, and we'll start the discussion from there.
It feels like everything is falling apart. The planet is simultaneously flooded and on fire. Wars are raging, prices are hiking, and fascism is rising. We live in an age of crisis, as capitalism, colonialism, imperialism, patriarchy, and the state aim to retain their stranglehold on our world. My generation faces a future of profound uncertainty, as the basic means of subsistence, especially food and shelter, are becoming increasingly inaccessible to the vast majority of us. Movements of various political flavors have arisen in response to these conditions, but the machine seems to continue unperturbed. For those of us who haven't completely given up on the fate of the world, we're looking for ways to change our trajectory. We want to know what we can do to help. Our situation, of course, calls for real change. It calls for more than just resistance. It calls for revolution, social revolution.
And I think that this video is perfect in the way that he frames this straight away. So he's already coming out the gate and being like, yeah, you're probably quite doom-pilled right now, aren't you? You're probably literally fucking doomering out. And most people are, right? And mentioning that there are people out there who are desperate to sort of change things regardless, despite doomerism, is really important, because there are. And this is the whole deal with Red Planet, right? This is why me, Sophie, Tim, and Kira do Red Planet, because we all know that things are bad. In fact, it's funny that I reference Network in this stream, because that's kind of what the guy in Network does. He's like, I don't know what to do about crime, about Russians, about this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. All I know is that you've got to get mad, right? And that's the starting point. First, you've got to get mad. Like, you've got to turn that doomerism and that fear into anger and wanting justice for what's going on, basically. That's what it is. And how do you get that justice? Well, you get it by changing the power dynamic, the power structures in society. And we do that by taking that power back. We do that by organizing. We do that by direct action. And Andrew's going to go through all of that in the video today.
This propose for a complete transformation of our society, economy, culture, philosophy, technology, relationships, and politics. Of course, that would be illegal. So while our situation may call for it, I cannot.
It's true. Yeah.
As we all know, legality is what determines morality. However, if we're operating in the world of fiction, we can explore the practical components of social revolution. If our characters are facing apocalyptic collapse in their lifetimes and they're seeking real change, the answer is social revolution. Now, people have a habit of conflating revolution with insurrection or coup d'etats. A lot of works of fiction make this mistake, seemingly drawn from the flashy imagery of the storming of Bastille during the French Revolution, and that has become the image of revolution in popular culture. A final climactic showdown between the masses and the foot soldiers of empire. The smell of smoke and gunpowder in the air, the roar of a bloodthirsty crowd, the burning sensation of tear gas overcoming one's senses. Eventually, success comes with the replacement of one set of rulers with another. A lot of modern-day wannabe socialist or even anarchist revolutionaries still hold to this misconception of what a revolution entails. The way they talk about revolution as some distant future event with a clear before and after betrays that kind of mentality. It's practically millenarian, as though they're waiting for the second coming of Karl Marx.
Okay, so this is a big one. And, you know, this is what a lot of socialists, left-wingers, communists, and even anarchists fall into when it comes to expecting a so-called revolution to just happen. Like, Andrew's got it spot on here. It's not about like just waiting for one day when everyone's gonna finally go, oh my god, it has to happen now, like this is it, we've had too much, and everyone just like somehow, you know, finds guns and shoots the government. Like, what where have you got that from? Like, you know, there's no. Yeah, and I would argue that, like, that is the recuperation of the idea of a revolution by capitalism, because, of course, we see that in media, don't we? We see that in, like, Star Wars. Like, that's what happens in Star Wars. The rebels have all got guns. They've all got fucking airships and shit like that, like what do they call it? The X-Wings, and, you know, they've got artillery and this, that, and the other, you know, and that's where that idea comes from. Even there's a communist film, and I can't remember who made it. It's like Leishenko or something like that, the guy's name. But the storming of the palace, there's like a palace of something that I can't remember. I can't remember the actual name of it. But it was like the Winter Palace, I think. The Winter Palace was its name, and it was even portrayed by Stalin as this, like, you know, massive, you know, huge battle that happened. But it really wasn't. There was just like, you know, there were about like tens of thousands of revolutionaries outside, right? And then on the inside, there was maybe like 400 people, maybe even less. And they were all just kind of like well, we shouldn't really do this. Like, it's not worth it. Like, they're all kind of right. And they just kind of like gave up. Like, a lot of the guards just kind of went, yeah, you know what? We're going to join him. We're gonna join him. We're gonna go there, and we're gonna basically just turncoat. And it's literally that. Like, you know what I mean? So, but like, Stalin had this like weird thing about it where he wanted to make it this amazing thing that never happened, and he like, I think that's why he commissioned this Lyshenko guy to like, do this film, The Storming of the Winter Palace, and it's portrayed as this like horrific battle where loads of revolutionaries lost their lives and stuff, and like revolutionaries lost their lives in the October Revolution in the USSR, but like, it didn't happen like that. Like, it wasn't like the Storming of the Winter Palace. It was kind of like lots of different uprisings in various different places. So we have to be mindful of propaganda in every form. Also, hey 30 Bird, how's it going? Welcome in, good to see you. And yeah, is this Crop Lysenko guy or someone else? I don't know what you're on about. I don't know what that means. I don't even know if this is the same guy. I don't even know if I'm getting the name right. Garden of Delete. I know that you're new to the community, and like one thing that you'll learn about me is that I don't know names, I don't know stuff, I don't read books, I just know stuff, and that's it. I know some stuff. And if someone wants to give me the actual name of the guy that made that film, yeah, fine, that's cool. This is a collaborative stream where we all learn shit together most of the time. Hello, Emmy, good to see you as well. Welcome in. Yeah, I think I've done that. One more hour of work to do, then I'm going to jump back in the Muel chat, grab my lighter, and not admit to crimes publicly. Hell yeah, Sophie, that's what you fucking want. See you in a bit.
To bestow the capital R revolution upon the masses. But if you're trying to write a realistic anarchist social revolution in a fictional modern day setting, then as Alexander Berkman put it, you need a revolution that seeks to alter the whole character of society. In case you didn't...
Oh, Lysenko was the like Holodomor guy. Yeah, that's the guy that caused the Holodomor and shit.
No.
I guess you could say it was Stalin. Stalin and Lysenko.
Islam is a political philosophy and movement based in opposition to all forms of hierarchical control and promotion of a society within which individuals can freely cooperate together as equals. The social revolution that anarchists seek requires people transforming society and transforming themselves in the process. It is not a sudden flipping of the switch, but a gradual change in people's powers, drives, and consciousness. Social revolution is an ongoing process, not a singular event. Social revolution is heterogeneous and dynamic, not religiously uniform. It may be punctuated by major ruptures and advances, but it requires a range of tactics informed by a variety of strategies built upon an array of short-term and long-term goals. It starts here and now. It has already begun, developing people's nation's anarchic tendencies. A social revolution.
And I want to point that out as well, that Andrew is right. We have within each of us a nascent anarchic tendency. And I'm really glad that he used that phrase, because now I'm going to be using it all the time. And essentially, we spoke on the stream about ODD, oppositional defiance disorder, right? And I was like, I'm not really sure I back this as a medically defined disorder, because it's just like, it's literally just like what we all think, like that it's natural to not want to be told to do stuff by people, like we all have a little anarchist inside of us. Giggity, obviously, like, yeah, that was a bit of a Freudian slip as well, but you know what I mean, right? That's what I'm saying. So Chloe is saying Nikolai Evrenov was the Storming of the Winter Palace guy, according to Wikipedia. No, he wrote the book, right? He wrote the book, and the book was changed a couple of times. Oh no, that isn't that. So is that the director of the film? Okay, yeah, fair enough. There was someone, I think there was a British guy that wrote a book about the storming of the Winter Palace, and Stalin got him to change that, or like they changed it without his permission or something. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, it's something like that. Anyway, welcome to the stream, Ender Pig. How you doing? Good to see you.
Revolution takes years of social struggle, breaking down all forms of oppression and creating new ways of living. In a phrase, a social revolution requires revolutionaries that both oppose and propose. This is a hopefully comprehensive guide to what that looks like.
And, important to point out here that Andrewism is basically calling out everybody on Twitter who, like, they make a habit of just, like, opposing things, but not really proposing things. Which I love, to be honest, because it's true. Like, you can, a lot of people think that being an anarchist is just saying, no, I don't want to do that, right? Or, like, no, I disagree with that. But it's not. Like, you have to come up with an alternative. Otherwise, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, are you furthering the revolution? Are you, like, furthering the social revolution? Are you doing anything? No, you're not. You know what I mean? It's like, you're just basically, like, throwing up a lot of, like, I guess... And I think people can get misguided in that as well, and they can start to, like, create new things that don't really have a consensus. And, that's why we get a lot of, like, takes... that we, well, I don't really need to go any further, do I? Like, I could just say that. That's why we get a lot of takes. We should have never taught the kids about takes. So, there you go.
At the most basic level, a social revolution requires the cooperation of multiple people. One potential form that cooperation can take is the affinity group. Affinity groups are small groups of anarchists who work together to spread anarchic ideas to the wider culture. Their work requires a combination of actions that both oppose and propose.
That's right,
particularly
Chloe.
in the realm of education, where affinity groups must simultaneously expand people's consciousness of systems of oppression and demonstrate the possibilities of alternatives. Additionally, affinity groups seek to develop the anarchic powers and capacities of people in mass movements, unions, and communities to engage in direct action and learn to manage their own affairs without hierarchy. Affinity groups may host workshops and skill shares where they can disseminate skills and build connections in their communities. Within affinity groups, folks can fill different roles developing agitprop, which is the intentional promotion of ideas through literature, music, poetry, theatre, film, illustration, social media, and other forms of political art. Never underestimate the potential ripple effects a small network of affinity groups can have on the broader zeitgeist.
And this is why it's so important that we say on every episode of Red Planet that we want people to copy us. Because that agitprop, right, spreading in various different places, even if those places are metaphysical and on the internet, as it were. I don't know if that counts as metaphysical because the internet is technically a physical place. I don't know, screens, networks, all that stuff, whatever. You know what I mean? That is how movements build, and that is how people get awareness, and that is how people get agitated to the point where they go, yeah, you know what? We should do something about this. Like, we should. And generally speaking, people don't have an idea what to do. And that's why they fall into the trap of just saying, don't do that. We shouldn't do that. This is bad. This is bad. And they don't actually concentrate on, what should we do instead kind of thing. Yeah. The series of tubes. That's right, Chloe. Yeah. And I drew on what Enderpig was saying in the chat as well.
Can generally be divided further into two major groups. Acts of confrontation, which require less people but involve more risk, and acts of non-cooperation, which require more people but involve slightly less risk due to safety in numbers. Technically speaking, acts of non-cooperation could fall under acts of confrontation and vice versa, but don't get tired, they're imperfect categories. Let's begin with acts of confrontation. Protests are a very public form of sometimes indirect, sometimes direct political action that anarchists may utilize in order to raise awareness and keep the spirit of revolt alive and well. Protest, when executed correctly, is a sign that people are thinking and acting for themselves and against what authorities want them to do. However, protesting is very risky. Even non-violent protests can be subject to severe violent retribution, either from counter-protesters or from the agents of the state. Organizers have been assassinated, gone missing, or even been imprisoned. Plus, protests don't usually have much control over their messaging, making them vulnerable to the highly developed propaganda machine of corporate media. Alternative media organized by affinity groups can help spread the truth about protests, but they can't always compete. Still, political protest in the context of a broader social revolution is both powerful and necessary to resist oppression.
Yep.
Keep in mind that anarchists' engagement with protests is not based on a desire to lobby those in power for change. The lobbying approach typically results in a highly hierarchical and disempowered movement.
This is actually something that Greater Manchester Tenants Union are sort of like moving away from now as a result of our understanding of this, generally speaking, because it's like, you know, we can try to lobby for change from the government as much as we like, but it's very easy for political figures to give lip service to people like unions in order to just shut them up and stop them from bothering them. You know what I mean? Because normally, you know, less radical unions will be appeased by that. You know what I mean? It's basically like appeasement. It's like trying to de-escalate people from doing radical actions kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And the consensus that we had at the annual general meeting is that, like, you know, we don't want to be focusing our resources on lobbying for political change. It's a waste of time. We want to be focusing on empowering people in the world to sort of like defend themselves from landlords and shit. So yeah, you know, that's sort of like a real world example of what Andrewism is talking about. 30 Bird says, I think a part of why so many leftists have an idea of a revolution like the French is because how they've witnessed the response to protests like Black Lives Matter and whatnot. The response from the state being so forceful reinforces the idea of conflict. Yeah, it's that too. Yeah, it's absolutely that too, 100%. But what you've got to remember is that there's still like a lot of leftists who never went to these protests. They didn't even know what they were like. So, you know, there's that too. Small groups of activists blocking streets at airports and being taken in preventive custody. Yeah. Last Gen at first also tried to lobby with the government and it went fucking nowhere. Yeah, there's literally no point. There's literally no point. And this should be something, I think, that should be communicated between organizations that is like, look, you know, we've started these organizations fundamentally because we know that social change isn't possible through the lobbying of political figures who are in power. We have to take that power away from them and put it back into the hands of the people so that they understand who they serve, right? And then if they don't understand who they serve, then maybe it's better that the power stays in the hands of the people. I'm just going to blow my nose, folks, but I will be listening, and I've watched this video before anyway, so.
Where the masses below do the work and take on the risk, while an elite minority of activists rub shoulders with politicians and lose touch with the cause. Lobbying requires compromise, while anarchists recognize that the unyielding persistence of a radical movement can produce reforms without ever limiting themselves to reforms. The Zapatistas were able to gain and maintain the land they now hold because a government, even a progressive government, does not give away some of its power unless it's scared of losing all of its power. Rather than expending time, resources, and energy trying to convince or change a government, movements can focus on building up a real threat that can drive a hard bargain through direct forms of action. Direct action means working to accomplish goals.
And like, you know, Andrewism threw up a picture, I think, of the Zapatistas there. I might be wrong. But it doesn't always have to be a directly violent threat. You know, in terms of taking away power from governments and power from people in power, you know, simply organizing your apartment building can be a form of that, because a person in power is a landlord. and a person in power is a chairman on the board of a large letting company that has started to buy properties and take advantage of the investor buy-to-let market. So, these kind of things are what we really need to be reminding people, because again, it's like, I know that Andrewism spent a lot of time at the start being like, yeah, it doesn't have to be this violent revolution where people are killing and stuff like that, but then throws up an image of the Zapatistas, and it's like, okay, yeah, no, look, just want to reaffirm what he says in the beginning,
directly, rather than relying on authorities or representatives as intercessors. But crucially, direct action requires a security culture capable of protecting its perpetrators from the law. Again, I'm not advocating for anything illegal.
Neither am I.
Just describing how a fictional anarchist social revolution works. A security culture is an instinctive set of customs developed and shared by a community whose members may be targeted by the government, designed to minimize risk. The central principle of security culture is that people should never be privy to any sensitive information they do not need to know. Don't ask, don't tell. Don't make it easy for your enemies, don't let paranoia override your movements, and don't put yourself or others at unnecessary risk. Alongside support networks that can lend transportation and safe housing for those involved, much like the Underground Railroad, having a solid security culture is necessary for the usually very illegal actions that seek to directly confront and dismantle institutions of power. Obstruction refers to any actions that movements may engage in that seek to delay or cease the operations of those in power by making it physically impossible for them to proceed with their intended actions. Using sheer numbers or shrewd strategies, this can range from a DDoS attack to highway blockades, to eviction resistance, to the disruption of mining, logging, construction, or drilling activities that are damaging the environment and endangering poor communities. Another, usually temporary tactic is occupation.
By the way, this has reminded me, and I don't know if there are any Yanks in the chat who are interested in networking with tenants unions. But we had a member who was a student who had to go back to Boston, Massachusetts, and they said that when they were going to get back, they were going to find out if they could find a tenants union in the US and have a link up with them. And we found out that there is, in fact, a tenants union in Greater Boston. So you should go and follow them. And also, you will find with them that there is also a tenants union of Western Massachusetts, which is the greater area of Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts. And of course, they collaborate with them too. And so that is a good start for anyone who wants to, get involved. Essentially, there's another place here, Worcester Tenants Union. This is Worcester in Massachusetts. So Massachusetts, seems like a big place for tenants union organizing. And I think that if people live in other states, close, neighboring states to Massachusetts, I think this would be a great start for people who want to know what housing rights are in America. We've also got the tenant councils of San Diego here in the chat. There you go. Everybody on YouTube should be able to see these links that I'm putting in the chat as well. Just look for the name at the end of the slash in the link. That's the @ that you want to @ if you're in these states and you want to be joining these tenants unions. And here's another one, Portland Tenants United. I didn't know about this one, but Portland, Oregon, get involved with them. Yeah, everybody say hi to the VOD watchers. Everybody say hi to the VOD watchers. And again, and another, I'm just finding more and more. This is how easy it is, folks. This is how easy it is to do a bit of research. Once you find one tenants union, you find a lot more. Houston tenants union, Texas. So there you go. Another one for Houston. Sorry, that one's a tweet that I've shared. So that's my bad. I shouldn't have shared that. I should have just got there's the actual, there you go. There's the actual link. Yeah, we will find Johnny McVodwatcher. We will find him eventually. Like, we've had a couple of people say, look, I'm sorry I'm not Johnny VODwatcher, but I am a VODwatcher. You know, and we have to make sure that people know that you know, we're still looking. We're still out there looking for him. This is another organization here that I found called the Autonomous Tenants Union Network. I imagine this is going to be a really, really good one. Autonomous Tenants Union Network. So check that out. You're in one of the tenants unions you linked? Let's fucking go, Rebel! Let's fucking go! Yeah, proud of you, proud of you, proud of you. Oh my God, are you joking? LA Tenants Union? You have to be shitting me. I've found the big one. I found the big one, folks. Los Angeles Tenants Union, California. You're going to find a lot. You're going to find a lot on that one. On that account. Who else do we got? You know, I think it's important to like find all these things before Twitter just like dies, I would say. I would say that that's like the main thing. And yeah, that's it essentially. So anyway, there we go. Just a little bit of research to show you just how easy it is to do a bit of research on potential organizations in your community, in your area. As soon as you find one, you'll find others. That's how it goes. That's how that's how organizations like this work. I can't even remember how I started that. Hi, Dice Goblin. What's going on? Tank is in the San Francisco Bay Area. There you go. There you go. Check out Tank. I'm going to just Google that right now. TANC. San Francisco. Let's see what that is. Bay Tank. Tenant and Neighborhood Council is a member-run autonomous tenant union in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm going to just drop the link to the website. If you just Google Tank space SF, you'll find that. There you go. There's their website as well. Now, this isn't me advocating for any of these tenants unions. I don't know how they operate. I don't know anything about them. I just know that if you go out there and you look for them, you will find them. And if you think that they aren't running in the way that you think they should be running, one of the best ways that you could get involved with that, especially if they're democratically, horizontally run, is getting involved. If you get involved, you've got a chance of changing it and making it a force to be reckoned with. So that's that. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough of me going on about that. We're going to crack on with the video.
Where a collective may squat and hold critical infrastructure, such
This
as
is on
factories,
occupation.
transportation systems, school buildings, shopping centers, public squares, parks, and empty land or housing, in order to force change and construct counter spaces where protesters may reimagine and transform infrastructure in a way that is conducive to public need rather than state or corporate interests.
Hell
If
yeah.
sustained and defended, occupation can eventually lead to reclamation, such as when the workers' occupations in Argentina during the 2001 economic crisis led to the creation of self-managed cooperatives. The Reclaim the Streets movement is another example of reclamation, where communities have invaded roads or highways to stage a party with free food and music, opening up the space we have lost to car-centric infrastructure.
Hell yeah.
Land and housing can be secured, cooperatives can be developed, streets can be pedestrianized, and the commons can be reclaimed through sustained and defended occupation.
And we spoke to someone who was doing that on Red Planet. We spoke to Jay and Issa, who were basically part of a bunch of collectives who were owning and, well, not owning, but occupying and defending the ZAD, the Zona de Fonder, in France, in northwestern France, Brittany, as it's known, and they stopped an airport being built on it. So there you go.
Expropriation is another example of direct action in the style of Robin Hood, liberating food, medicine, money, supplies, or equipment from the rich and distributing them to the people. Historically, many affinity groups have engaged in bank robberies and other forms of theft in order to finance their revolutionary activities, propaganda, and bails from prison. New African anarchist Kwasi Balagoon was imprisoned for an attempted bank robbery.
Jay was involved in Reclaim the Streets. That's right, Shafiq, yeah.
And Lucio Ortubia was a Spanish anarchist known for his practice of expropriative anarchism. However, sometimes revolutionaries seek sabotage and destruction instead of expropriation. Whether merely threatened or actually carried out, destruction of property during riots or other political activities has a long and proud history of success. From individual acts of sabotage during slavery to MK guerrillas bombings of the communications, transit, and energy infrastructure that helped run the South African apartheid economy, to indigenous activists in Canada sabotaging efforts to start fracking near their land.
And something that I've just gotten as an immediate update, literally just like happened right now. I just saw a text on my phone from someone that I know. I don't know if anybody knows, but in the UK, the charity Shelter, that's a homeless charity, has been on strike for a couple of weeks now, and apparently they're back in work tomorrow. And of course, when striking workers are back in work, that generally means that they've reached a settlement, but there's no details yet. I imagine with the support from the unions that they've been having, we've been supporting them as Greater Manchester Tenants Union, and I imagine with the support that they've had from the unions so far that they've got what they asked for, which was a pay rise in line with the rate of inflation. And if that's the case, then that's absolutely amazing. Not only does it mean that those workers are going to be paid a solid living wage. I don't know if it'll be a living wage, but we'll see. We'll see what the settlement details are. But it also means that we can resume. We showed solidarity with the striking workers before. Continuing our relationship with Shelter. We have a working relationship with Shelter as the Greater Manchester Tenants Union, and I think that now we're going to be able to keep doing that as a result of them now, complying with the demands of the striking workers. So, buzz in. Strikes work, people. There you go. Join a union. Do it now. Hello, Drought Lesbian, and hello, JMM. Welcome in.
Lastly, there are acts of confrontation that involve violence against humans, which I must repeat that I do not support. Keep your violence fictional, people. This violence can be either offensive or...
Not in this chat. Don't even joke about it. You'll get banned. Don't fuck with me on this one. Shafiq knows the score. Nurses strike on tomorrow. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to be trying to get to the picket line on... I think it starts at like 9 a.m. tomorrow. So I'm going to be trying to get to the picket line for that. I've got a big thing to do tomorrow. So yeah, it's going to be either or, to be honest. So we'll see.
Defensive, organized by militias or undertaken by individuals, but ultimately it aims to make being a rapist, a fascist, an officer, a capitalist, or a politician a very dangerous position to be in. In a society where the power-hungry already rule, during the process of social revolution, people will gain their freedom by overthrowing every existing and would-be authority and defending against those who seek to reimpose that authority through self-managed forms of self-defense. Because the freedom anarchists seek does not include the freedom to oppress others. Organized militias will be necessary to defend revolutionary gains. Meanwhile, in someone's backyard...
Okay, and another funny thing, right? I don't know if I told people that I was having a conversation with my partner's dad about COVID the other day. But she's literally just texted me to say that he's texted her with like a thingy, like a little study that's been done, about people getting infected multiple times with COVID, leading to like really bad health issues. And he says, seems to be some truth in what you and Muel were saying. It's like, yes, I don't lie. not knowingly anyway. Anyway, so just a little badge of approval there. I destroyed my partner's dad in the marketplace of ideas, and I think that's much more powerful than any debate stream. So there you go. Anyway, so this is the bit, by the way, just coming up now, in case everybody doesn't know. This is the contentious bit that some people have seen and they've gone, this is just 1984, it's what capitalists say. And I would argue to come into this bit with a bit of an open mind and understand that even though, they're messing about with the names here and one of the ants is called Lenant rather than like, I would probably have called it Starlant or, Mauant, they're talking about the dictatorship of Stalin and Mao, basically. That's what they're talking about.
We've done it. They're all dead. Finally, we freed ourselves from the tyranny of the grasshoppers. Workers of the anthill unite. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
They can exploit our labor no longer. Now we can build a better anthill without being bossed around by anybody.
Yes, let's build a better anthill. You over there, start gathering fruits for the stockpiles. And you two, bring that dead beetle we found a few days ago.
But wait! Who died and made you the boss, Lenant? I thought we were going to run this anthill horizontally, the way we promised.
I am no boss, comrade. I'm a worker ant, just like you. But you see, even though the dictatorship of the grasshoppers may be over, we still need a dictatorship of the worker ants in the transition to create ant communism. You should read State and Revolution. Don't worry, all ants are equal. Eventually, we won't be worker ants anymore.
But I think we should...
What are you, some kind of counter-revolutionary? Do you want the grasshoppers to come back? Stop wasting time. Go and gather food for the glorious people's anthill. A few months.
So again, you can understand why some people have taken issue with this bit. It kind of conflates what Lenin and Stalin did and shit like that. Like Lenin did advocate for like a dictatorship of the proletariat. But it is something that like is a viable thing to criticize of how communism developed in the USSR. It's basically Animal Farm. It's Animal Farm, but without the step where Snowball is killed or like Snowball dies, which is basically Animal Farm. Yeah, not 1984. Sorry, it wasn't 1984. It's the other one by George Orwell. It's Animal Crossing. Yeah, that's my bad. You see, I don't read books, but I do read books. And I have read books, but I don't anymore because they don't interest me. I've read all the books that I need to know. Anyway, let's crack on.
Later, at the people's anthill.
Can you give me a leg? I'm carrying food to Chair Ansel and Ant. I hope I made the quota this week.
Sure, comrade, but shouldn't we be free by now? It feels like the grasshoppers are in charge all over again here.
Comrade, don't you remember what Lenant said? All ants are equal, but some ants are more equal than others.
And it's like, Animal Farm by George Gershwin, that's right. It's one of those, it's a bit that's not been thought through or whatever, like whatever, who cares? Like, I think the main thing that I would say about people like, Chomsky talks about this too. Yeah, of course. Like, I think the main thing that I would say about this bit of the video is that, like, I've seen some people say that this is, like, a reason that they couldn't watch the rest of the video. And I think that that is just insane. Like, if you can't take a bit of criticism about a movement that had nothing to do with you, that happened 100 years ago, that's crazy. Like, why are you attaching yourself to those people and taking the criticisms of those people and those movements personally? Like, why are you doing that? You need to stop doing that. It's for the betterment of not just you, but the movement of leftists as a whole, right? We need to stop thinking that we live in 1920s Eastern Europe where anarchists were murdered by communists, or that anarchists were paid by capitalist insurrectionary, antagonists in order to, start wars against the communists. Yeah, all this shit. Like, just stop it. We don't live in that world anymore. Just stop it. Like, just fucking let's work together, for God's sake. We don't have time for this anymore, We don't have time to be playing fucking. What is it? What's the game that people play? Is it Civilization 6 or something? We don't have time to be playing that in your head anymore. It's like, we're done with that. We've got to do stuff.
Maybe we should have prefigured something different, Ant.
On the other side of the opposed coin are acts of non-cooperation, either political, social, or economic. Like I said before, these could also be considered acts of confrontation, but again, they're just categories, however imperfect. Strikes are perhaps one of the most well-recognized forms of revolutionary non-cooperative political action. But people underestimate exactly how powerful and multifaceted a strike can be. There are different types of strikes
Right, Lorelei.
that encompass different segments of the population and target different segments of the system. Labor strikes are a mass refusal of workers to work. Labor strikes can occur in a specific workplace, a specific industry, or in the case of a general strike, across multiple industries. Strikes can be organized and called for by unions, or they can be organized without the approval of unions and with significantly more risk, as with wildcat strikes. For anarchists, wildcat strikes are necessary to circumvent the capitulatory and bureaucratic nature of some unions, as very few unions these days are actually revolutionary, and due to the rise of the high turnover atomized jobs of the service economy, very few workers are unionized. Strikes are born from the recognition that capitalists need labor, not the other way around.
That's right.
Particularly for movements with radical aims, a well-defended and well-supported general strike can play a powerful role in the rupture of the capitalist state of affairs and reclamation of the means of production. However, it isn't easy to achieve a general strike. Alki made an excellent video on the topic, but in short, a general strike needs support from a mass, grassroots coalition of radical political, social, and labor organizations.
Right,
It
Chloe.
won't be achieved through Reddit. Students
It won't be achieved through Reddit. I fucking love Andrewism so much.
and labor organizations. It won't be achieved through Reddit.
Yeah, like, you know what he's talking about there, right? He's talking about the fucking anti-work subreddit, right? The anti-work subreddit was really good and it was really nice. It was like a good thing that happened, but you know, we need practical stuff
Student strikes
to
bring
do in the
together
real
affinity
world.
groups within educational institutions and mobilize specific classes or entire student bodies to protest issues
That's
in
right,
politics
Prince.
and academics, without waiting to be legitimized by the channels of authority. Students can use their campus as a space to meet, study material conditions, and create spaces to strengthen the autonomy of students to direct their own education and develop a kaleidoscope of academic possibilities. Rent strikes are a method of resistance tenants can use against landlords where they collectively refuse to pay rent. They can operate as part of an effort to occupy and reclaim housing, or they can just push particular demands, such as better conditions or lowered rents. A rent strike needs 3 basic elements in order to succeed. Shared dissatisfaction.
So something to know. I think Andrew just showed an image of this. I don't know which source to go with here. But there was a Glasgow rent strike in 1915. Excuse me. And it was fucking huge. It wasn't particularly a rent strike in general. It wasn't like a general rent strike where everyone just like stopped paying rent. It was a rent strike where basically landlords turned around and were like, right, well, we're gonna like jack up the price of rent. And in April, tenants basically said, we're only going to pay our normal rent and we're not going to pay the rent rise. And that was it. That was literally it. And in June, so literally 2 months later, some landlords were just like, all right, whatever, you know. And I think some other stuff happened. I think some other stuff. Let's have a look. The rent strike was initially formed in 1915, and in 2 months, 25,000 working-class Glasgow families were refusing to pay their rent. So it did actually escalate. It did actually escalate to people not paying their rent entirely. You know, sheriff officers and bailiffs who attempted to evict the tenants were met with organised resistance and protests by the Housewives Committee, which is why there is absolutely no leftist movement that should sit there and not recognise the importance of women in radical history, and also the importance of women in organising things like rent strikes, because, you know, this was something that, like, I think Mary Barber was the sort of, yeah, the Glasgow Housewives Housing Association, the chair was Mary Barber. So, you know, it's kind of one of those. It's just like, yeah, you've got to remember, you've got to know your history. You've got to know your history with this stuff. But anyway, yeah, let's crack on with the video. A little bit of history for you there.
Outreach to build numbers and therefore the threat of the strike. And finally, support. Both legal support and physical support against evictions. Taxpayer strikes, or organized tax resistance, refers to a collective refusal to pay tax.
Hey, Buddha.
Governments have historically struggled with tax non-compliance, and the tactic has been used effectively to supplement protests against wars, or in the case of the Indian independence movement,
that's right, 30.
Against the colonial state.
And that's right, Lorelei.
Debt strikes are a method of collective debt resistance that aims to break down current debt dogma and free people and communities from the stranglehold of debt.
Hell yeah.
Organizations such as Strike Debt purchase and forgive monetary debt through the Rolling Jubilee program, and organize debt strikes where debtors defer their loan payments as a method of mass financial civil disobedience. On the consumer side of things, boycotts are a popular form of collective action and passive resistance. Though not as effective as they used to be, due to the multinational and conglomerate nature of today's capitalism, on a targeted small scale or a well-coordinated large scale, if organized into mass movements and undertaken in coordination with sympathetic strikes, consumer boycotts can have some impact in the social revolutionary struggle.
That's right.
Boycotts don't have to be limited to boycotts against businesses. Leverage.
Like, this is annoying to a degree, because you find a lot of libs who say things like, boycotts don't work. And it's like, yeah, they don't work on their own. Like, yeah, of course. Like, what do you think you're like the big brain Albert Einstein of leftist ideas now that you've said boycotts don't work? Like, you know, a lot of these things have to be done in conjunction with each other. Like, that's what it's all about. That's what building a social revolution is. Like, what kind of leftist are you if you're sat there saying boycotts don't work? Like, generally speaking, if you have that kind of rhetoric, if you use that kind of language, right, then you're generally speaking trying to justify that shit to yourself. Like, you're trying to justify your own lack of commitment to boycotts, I think, more often than not, rather than adequately explaining why boycotts don't work. I don't even think that people who say boycotts don't work understand why they don't work on their own. You know, let alone I genuinely think that, like, they don't understand that they're trying to you know, convince themselves of that. If boycotts don't work, why does BDS get so much resistance? Exactly, Shafiq. You know, don't shop at Marks and Spencer. They're horrible. They give loads of money to Israel. So there you go. The people you hear that from most often, in my experience, I feel like there's an end to that sentence, are people who are engaging in supporting businesses that they know are awful. Yeah, and this is the thing. It's like, you know, it's so easy to stop shopping at Marks and Spencer. Like, if we're going to use that as an example, like, it's so easy to stop shopping at Marks and Spencer. Like, literally, all you have to do is shop at Lidl instead, or Aldi, right? And what you'll find is that not only are you stopping engaging with people who have awful business practices and unethical relationships with particular nationalist governments and stuff like that. But you're also saving yourself a fucking load of dough. You know what I mean? You're saving yourself so much money. What, you're going to buy a bag of rice at Marks and Spencer's for £4 when you can get one for 99p at Aldi? You know? What are you doing? It's like the same. It's just rice. Like, it's not like Marks and Spencer's special rice. Like, maybe they put MSG in it or something to make you buy it more. I don't know. But that's it. What's the deal with M&S? Okay. Like, look, this is like a... Okay. Marks and Spencer... Israel. Right. Okay, so Marks and Spencer. Let's have a look. Hang on a minute. So it was founded. I think it was founded by a Zionist guy. Hey, Porcelain, how's it going? Welcome in. What is it? Hang on, I'm just scrolling through this. There's like a load of money that they give to the Zionist movement and to Israel in general. So let's have a look here. 1928. This is a massive fucking article from like 2001 or whatever. Oh, here we go. I think that like some of the board were involved in the founding of Israel. I think that's what I'm reading here. Marks and Spencer's directors include the chair of British Israeli Chamber of Commerce and the governor of the Weizmann Institute of Science. According to Green Ribbon and the Jewish Chronicle, Marks and Spencer sell approximately £240 million worth of Israeli goods each year. The Israeli ambassador of the Court of St. James recently honoured Marks and Spencer for its support of Israel. The support has been unstinting. So there you go.
Hello, my old chum.
That's that. There you go. Yeah, weird shit. Extremely weird shit. And what you've got to remember about the majority of goods made in Israel is that they are more often than not made with Palestine prison labor. So Palestinian prison labor. Like Palestinians who've been imprisoned, and not even that, but just like legitimately slave labor in some cases. So that's why you don't shop at Marks and Spencer's. Anyway, there you go. That's the answer to that. Also, there's some new people in the chat that I wanted to say hi to. Porcelain and Mark Salmons. How you doing? Welcome in. I agree. S&M is better than M&S. Anyway, let's move on with the video. There you go. Boycotts are good, actually, as long as they do it in conjunction with other stuff.
Apply social sanctions can force change in other settings as well. Other acts of non-cooperation may include conscientious objection for draftees, mutiny and insubordination for soldiers and other government workers, and social pressure through shunning of class traitors, scabs, racists, sexists, and others who act to uphold oppressive systems. Between the acts of confrontation and acts of non-cooperation I've just outlined, I believe that pretty much exhausts the opposed side of the expression. Now we can turn to the side of social revolution that undertakes political action to propose and build alternatives.
Today is the shadow of tomorrow. Today is the present future of yesterday. Yesterday is the shadow of today. The darkness of the past is yesterday. And the light of the past is yesterday.
This is the aim of prefigurative politics, which is the deliberate experimental implementation of desired future social relations, institutions, infrastructure, and practices in the here and now.
Hell yeah!
The anarchist argument for social revolution is not that political means and ends should be linked in important ways, but that they already are. Today is the preview of tomorrow. Thus, it is vital that organizational practices prefigure liberatory and not authoritarian forms. That means developing people's powers, drives, and consciousness in a way that is conducive to anarchic social change. Powers refers to people.
So this is, you know, making the revolution irresistible, right? And when I said this to one of my friends and comrades in Great Manchester Tenants Union yesterday, his face lit up with happiness, because this is what we have to do. We have to make the revolution irresistible. We have to make the future irresistible. We have to think, you know, the thought exercise that we did a week or so ago, or a couple of weeks ago, where we were saying, okay, let's imagine a bar in an anti-capitalist future, right? You know, the bar was basically invented to stop people from getting to the ale and serving themselves for free. So the bar was put there to stop people from getting there, getting free beer, and so they had to pay for it, right? But in a post-capitalist world, you don't have to pay for it. So what's the need for the bar to be there? So the thought exercise was, what can you have in place of a bar? Would you still have the bar there and like leave it as a remnant to the capitalist society, etc.? You know, like, would you have like a place in the bar where it's been sawn off kind of thing and call that like the break in the bar or something like that? Do you know what I mean? So that's where... you know, we have to start thinking about stuff like this. We have to start thinking about, you know, autonomous collectives, not just outside of metropolitan areas, but also inside metropolitan areas. We have to think about how things are organized. We have to think about community hubs. We have to think about places of food. We have to think about food empowerment. We have to think about all these things. We have to stop thinking in the, oh my God, we can't do that. Oh my God, we can't do this. And we have to start thinking in the future of like, okay, how good is the world going to be without this? How good is the world going to be post-capitalism? How good is the world going to be once power is restored to the collective communities rather than the small individuals that have it already? You know? Yeah, the conquest of ale. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, rest in power to MF Doom. Yeah.
People's capacity to do or be. Both individual and collective powers are determined by the natural, historical, and especially social context folks find themselves in. Therefore, movements must be structured in a way that helps members develop the powers needed to organize horizontally and spread this form of organization to others. There's a strong connection between powers to develop and appreciate free and equal social relations and the drives needed to establish and enhance them, because drives are also shaped by social contexts. Lastly, consciousness enables people to contemplate and alter their activity as needed. Radical education helps people to develop forms of consciousness which enable them to better understand, assess, orient themselves in, and change their society. Now let's talk prefigurative politics. Mutual aid must be a foundational concept in any social revolutionary project. Put simply, mutual aid is a form of political participation in which people take responsibility for caring for one another and changing political conditions by building relationships, networks of reciprocity, and communal autonomy from the state. Mutual aid may involve work to support people impacted by harmful systems and work to create alternative infrastructure.
This is something that I have like a slight contention with in terms of like how mutual aid is seen at the moment on like Twitter. So like people will be like, you know, oh, I have a mutual aid request from, you know, my friend in Sacramento who's not got any money and stuff like that. That's not what mutual aid is. It's not what it is. It's not organized like that. It's nothing like that. It's been completely bastardized as a term by people sort of like sharing their GoFundMes on the internet. And look, I'm not saying that donating to people's GoFundMes is bad. I share people's GoFundMes, you know, if I know who they are and if I like, you know, if they're a member of my community especially. But it's not mutual aid. And we need to stop calling it that. Because then that prevents actual mutual aid groups getting formed. Because then people are just like, oh, mutual aid is when you give money to someone. And it's like, no, it's not. That's charity. Like, what you're doing is charity. Like, You're just giving money to like one person. Like mutual aid is when, collectively a community goes, right, what we're going to do is we're going to build up a stockpile of money, of food, of clothes, resources, general resources, and we horizontally help people empower themselves, to sort of like collect this stuff and help us, maintain this stockpile of stuff, and then it gets distributed then horizontally with a decision made by all the members of the network kind of thing. You know what I mean? Redistribution of goods and money is a part of mutual aid, but not mutual aid itself. Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. This is why I have a slight contention with it, because it's like, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad that people are giving money to people online on the internet. I think that's fine and it's good. It's like, no, like, it's just not the right word for it. Like, you're just doing like individual charity essentially. But yeah, so important to remember, folks. It's one of the first ever episodes we did of Red Planet. It's literally one of the first ever episodes we did of Red Planet.
It can take the form of ride sharing, disaster response, food distribution, and much more. However, those engaging in mutual aid must ask themselves if their actions are providing material relief, avoiding legitimizing oppressive systems, mobilizing people for ongoing struggle,
and
accommodating marginalized groups.
It's all of those things together. You know what I mean? It's literally just like not, yeah. Red Planet is coming up on a year old. That's right, Husker. Yeah, very exciting. We've been doing it for a year. We've got lots of stuff to say about that. So, stay tuned for the anniversary episode of Red Planet, which is coming up in January. I hope that everybody will show up for that and be able to sort of look at it and go, oh, okay, this is like where we started and this is where we are now, and and this is where we're going in the future. Like, Conrad has been a great addition to the team. He's doing so much work behind the scenes, and it's going to be awesome when he finally takes over in the new year of, engineering the show himself. It's going to take a lot of pressure off the hosts who have to deal with a lot of stuff, and we don't get paid for it. So, having someone there who is paid to do the stuff for the show and he enjoys doing it, it's really, really good. And all the patrons of Red Planet, big up. I really, really appreciate people out there supporting Red Planet, because it is the most base thing that I've ever done on the internet. I gotta say, even next to my own content that I obviously have to believe in because I'm here doing it, Red Planet is the most base thing that I've done and been involved with. And Sophie says the same as well. I'm sure Kira and Tim think the same too. So, hey, Kusi, what's going on? Welcome in. Good to see you. Right, let's crack on with this.
Mutual aid is not meant to be charity. Charity is its own thing. Mutual aid must actively cultivate liberatory skills, practices, and chief among all, solidarity. In anarchism and the Black Revolution, Black anarchist and former Panther Lorenzo Kamboa Irvin wrote about the need to create survival programs to feed, house, and serve poor and working class people facing life-altering conditions. Survival programs are based in a specific geographical region, where members of the community get together to meet specific needs in their area.
Hey, awesome, agreed.
Building connections, consciousness, and eventually popular assemblies. A popular assembly is a free association of members of a community gathered with the aim of self-management. Popular assemblies allow community problems and improvements to be identified and solved directly, drawn upon the ideas and experiences of everyone and enriched by discussion and debate. Decisions may be made via consensus or through other forms of decision-making, such as liquid democracy, majority vote, or supermajority vote.
So, you might find a bunch of libs who, when they hear about this stuff, they say, how can you vote on everything that happens? That sounds crazy. It's ridiculous. And it's like, actually, it's not. I actually held multiple votes during my chair of the member solidarity meeting that we had with the tenants union today. you just like see if there's like a general majority consensus, and if there's any objections, then you go to a paper ballot. Like, that's all it is. Do you know what I mean? It's just literally like, it's not hard. It's actually not hard whatsoever. It's if you see those objections specifically, and if those you have to give people who have objections the time to speak and voice their objections, so that then everybody else can listen to the objections and go, yes, I agree with that, but also that's bollocks, like, you know what I mean, this, that, and the other. So it's important. It's really important to know. And that's the power where affinity groups also come in. The supermajority can vote for a thing, and the affinity groups deal with the nitty-gritty and presents the whole group. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know the score. 30 knows the score because they do all this, like, literally all the time. Communist voting app, no reason not to have one. Exactly, Chrissy. Yeah, that too. Like, people forget about the infrastructure that we have. Do you know what I mean? That will enable everybody to just like make a decision there and then on their phones, kind of thing. It's yeah. When proposals have consensus, it's super easy. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the power of like people's assemblies. I would argue that like having a communist voting app could possibly be like, not ideal, because you might like not have, everybody might not have the right information given to them. And what Chloe says is right too, like Faye's saying that basically not every single thing needs to be voted on, like whether or not people deserve human rights. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, we have to absolutely understand that when we're talking about this sort of, consensus multiple voting system in people's assemblies, this is organized on a very communal level. Like, this is not like a nationwide thing. Ideally, nations wouldn't exist, and people in their direct communities will vote on these things, and not even just in like a city or a township, like in various different neighborhoods. And then potentially there could be like committees in the way that Cuba organizes its democracy, essentially. Like, so like you have like townships that will like elect a member that go to a committee and then represent what they want, and then actually like vote for it in the committee and stuff like that. And generally speaking, there's like consensus in with things like that. So it's that kind of stuff, essentially. These organizations are pockets within pockets working together to create a chain link fence. Exactly. Yeah. Libs cannot imagine that communism means going back to the Stone Age. It's so frustrating. Yeah. It is frustrating. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. And that's it. That's literally it. Hi, Johnny, as well. Welcome to the stream. Go follow Just Johnny, everyone, by the way. He doesn't stream on Twitch anymore. He streams on... What is it? I can't remember what it's called. Glimesh? I think it's Glimesh. Whatever that is. I've never heard of it before. So, yeah, go and follow him on that.
Within a popular assembly, affinity groups may form to advocate their specific interests in a coordinated manner. The town of Chiran in Mexico provides just one example of successful community control, where the community armed themselves, kicked out the police, the cartels, and the local government, and organized popular assemblies to manage their own affairs.
There you go.
Popular assemblies will need to network and confederate with other popular assemblies and revolutionary organizations in order to build their collective power and autonomy.
So, like, this is why this video is so good, because it breaks it down so easily for people to understand. It's like you can see the way that he's shown this, right? So Andrewism has gone like, right, this red one in the middle is a massive town. The grey one is like a hamlet somewhere, and then, the green one is a hamlet with like two houses kind of thing. The blue one is a smaller town but bigger than a hamlet, and then the yellow one is like a village kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what's important. That's what's important to think about regarding like, oh, well then like what happens if like one town decides that they like hate trans people, or like they hate, Romani people, and then they want to like genocide the rest of the towns. It's like, no, that's not what we're advocating for. We're advocating for a confederate of, different communities, essentially, that organize on a local level, but then have representatives on a larger level as well. So yeah, it's It's really important to think about that. Enderpig says, just finished watching your Cuba trilogy, by the way. Yeah, it's a really important few videos to watch, to be honest. Like, you know, the VODs there, because they're literally just like amazing. Like, you know, not like tooting my own horn or anything, but like learning about Cuba in the way that we did and understanding everything. You know, away from the lens of imperialism and imperialist hegemony. You know, propaganda from the United States, essentially. It's really important to learn about, because it's like, okay, everyone in Cuba has everything as good as they could possibly have things as good as they could possibly have under a fucking imperialist embargo. Like one of the biggest embargoes, sanctions on people who have not done anything wrong other than want to be autonomous and, you know, have a real democracy, right? So that's why it's, you know, it's important to check that out, right? So, you know. Additionally, so many mutual aid groups are connected, so even if one might not fit your niche of activism, by joining in it, it can lead you to the activism you find most fulfilling and effective for you. That's another really important thing to mention, 30, and I appreciate you mentioning that, yeah, because it is about that. It is about, like, that's why I'm saying just, like, go out and unionize, because in unions, you will find other leftists who are, like, either just as based or more based than you. And you'll be like, oh shit, this person is actually like running a squat farm? What the fuck? And they're like giving food to homeless people, and they're also feeding everyone in their immediate community, and they're actually giving food to various mutual aid groups. That is literally like food empowerment in a community and shit. And you'll be like, whoa. And it'll blow your mind, and then you'll be like, I'm going to get involved with them. Sorry, union guys, I'm done. I'm getting involved with them. And that's it, you know? So it's up to you, really. Jarrell Lesbian says, also in that case, there's absolutely no reason that marginalized groups couldn't have its own interest representative like some countries do. Yes, exactly. Like, this is why it's so important. Like my big thing at the moment is like, I have too many fucking ideas and I want to do these things and I really want to like get people to do these things. But if someone could do it for me, that'd be great. Like, just get this started, yeah? If you're out there and you're listening to me and you've got the capacity and you want to do something, let's just fucking start an LGBTQIA plus union in the UK. Let's do it. Even start it in the fucking US, because at the end of the day, yeah, we've got all these charities like Stonewall and Mermaids and all this stuff, and it's all top-down organizing. Right? It doesn't actually like address a lot of the problems that some of the more marginalized queer people face, you know? Like, they're sort of older, archaic organizations. We need to have like a radical queer collective, a radical queer union that can establish a form of queer power within our country. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what we need so much. We need it for trans people. We need it for queer people who are more marginalized, like queer people of color. You know, we have to like stop relying on these, you know, charities and societies that were, you know, essentially simply just cater to the needs of cis white queer people. And that's it, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, that we need that. And like sort of the, whoa, sorry, accidentally went on Just Johnny's Glamesh channel there, just clicking on stuff in the fucking thingy. Yeah, charities aren't allowed to be political in the UK. This is why it's fucking ridiculous, right? And so, you know, with that in mind, the reason that I got so inspired to think about this was thinking about what Luna Oi told us about the fact that there's a women's union in Vietnam, and it's like one of the most powerful unions, because of course it is, because women are literally pretty much half of the fucking population. So that is really important to know. You know what I mean? That's really important to think about. Like, we need a women's union in the UK. We need women's unions in the US as well. Like, these are things that have to be started, and we have to build dual power in that way, like marginalized groups, you know, black unions, like native unions, like all these, like Mexican, Latine unions, all this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, you know, charity, the thing that's famously totally unpolitical, right? But that's what happens when charities, sort of like unions, become charities, and then they get detoothed by people who are given like so many forms of power, and like, you know, they're given lots of money, and so they just kind of sit there and they have this nice comfy life and they forget why they got involved in it in the first place. You know what I mean? So yeah, really important point that you raised there, Drow Lesbian. Yeah, thank you. I'm super into an LGBTQIA plus union. You know, I would love to like start it, but for a start, I'm a cis white queer guy. And I would rather like a trans person and some people of color get involved, like to start and be like the founding people of it. Like, I know that that's like asking more marginalized people to do the work, but it's kind of important to have those foundations and those fundamentals there. You know what I mean? For sort of like things going forward, because then, you know, there can be a constitution that has more marginalized queer people at the front of it, right? At the front and center of it, that can be supported by less marginalized people with privilege, right? That's kind of how I see it in my head. And also, I'm doing so much shit with the fucking, you know, tenants union at the minute. I just don't have the fucking time, you know. But I would absolutely be bringing to the tenants union like the idea of a coalition with a queer union. Might bring up the idea of reaching across the aisle to other queer orgs at my uni with my socialist group. That might work. Yes, just anything like that will like get it started. Honestly, I think it seriously will work. We have an unofficial queer caucus at the minute, even if it's not a huge group. All that takes, Drow Lesbian, all that takes is just a little bit of organising. That's all that takes, just a little bit of organising, getting some people some roles, understanding like that you can make a constitution that like has great foundations and it's horizontally, democratically organised. You know what I mean? Like then you're laughing. As soon as you've got that foundation there, you're laughing. It would fucking rock, honestly. You know, keep me updated on that, because I'd love to hear if you make any kind of headway with it, honestly. Because then it's a matter of like, you know, if you want to take this like to like a national scale, then you know, once you have like a small group formed, you can reach out to other groups in different towns, different cities, etc. And that's how you build a big confederate of organizations that eventually become a huge dual power structure, you know?
For example, communities will need to develop their capacity to feed themselves. Urban agriculture might be able to supplement dietary needs, but ultimately, community-supported agriculture provides a more robust alternative in the long term. Community-supported agriculture, or crop sharing, is a system that connects producers and consumers within the food system without a middleman, by allowing the consumer to subscribe to the local harvest of a certain farm or group of farms. For the purpose of revolution, crop sharing can connect farming cooperatives with popular assemblies to develop an alternative economy. A cooperative is simply an autonomous association of people united to meet their common economic, social, and/or cultural needs and aspirations through a collectively owned and democratically controlled organization. Co-housing cooperatives deal with housing. Workers' cooperatives deal with various industries, including food, healthcare, transportation, construction, and clothing. Credit unions deal with finance, including potentially financing revolutionary projects. Platform cooperatives deal with websites or apps. And utility cooperatives deal with the provision of utilities in a community or region. Maker spaces, coding spaces, and cooperative labs can create room for research and innovation in revolutionary projects, bringing together people of a diverse set of skills to collaborate and find solutions to the issues raised by the broader community. As I discussed in my videos on the library economy and the commons, the reclamation of the commons is absolutely vital to revolution.
Hell yeah.
In brief, the commons refers to any collectively managed natural or man-made resource system, such as a community land trust, a local forest, a shared pasture, or a renewable energy system. Revolutionaries can engage in building fully fledged library economies based on the commons. This can take the form of tool libraries, vehicle libraries, clothing libraries, furniture libraries, and more, in an effort to curb overproduction, end planned obsolescence,
yes,
and provide access to an irreducible minimum to all.
Yes!
Revolutionaries can also establish childcare collectives and free schools. Free schools are autonomous, non-hierarchical spaces intended for educational exchange and skill sharing for all ages. They reject the subordination of students to teachers and organize classes in a way that promotes critical consciousness across a variety of subjects.
Fucking hell yeah.
From nursery through college, in community centers, parks, libraries, and other shared spaces, learners and facilitators can collaborate to develop and self-manage an autonomous education system that can dispense knowledge and skills among the community.
Hell yeah.
Free children beget a free society, and education should facilitate their freedom.
Yeah, spot on. Sylvania's, hi, VOD Watcher here, being a live stream watcher for once. Welcome to the chat. Thank you so much for watching the VODs. Thank you so much for being in the chat. How's it going? Good to see you. South by, welcome to the stream. So true from Mr. Andrew. It is. It actually is, isn't it? Incredible stuff. Yeah. If you're not in the Discord, Gerald Lesbian, there's the Discord link for you. The Discord's definitely got like a lot more based over the last few months. So yeah, bear that in mind if you've been a Discord member before and you've thought this is pretty dry. Like I can't really make a case for the Discord in the past. It's been a bit shit. But over the last 6 months or the last year, really, it's been really fucking good. Like we got a lot of stuff going on in there, you know.
Communities must also develop methods of conflict resolution and new systems of justice.
Yes.
Mistakes and disagreements are inevitable. So there must be some means in place for discussing, deciding, and resolving conflict and incidents within and between communities, cooperatives, and individuals in a healthy and effective way, such as through arbitration, mediation, or conciliation. Community defense against domination and abuses of power requires a system of justice capable of responding to harmful behavior. How that manifests is subject to much debate among anarchists and abolitionists, so I will reserve that discussion for a future video. Now let's visit a free commune, a radical few who chose to maroon. They wished to abolish capitalism and more, but they left the city in its working class core. Utopia was the goal, but it couldn't be accessed. Solidarity made impossible between the commune and the oppressed. When the time drew near and their comrades would call, the commune folk didn't help at all.
Hey T, it's me again. We're down here at City Hall, downtown. We're striking, and we could really use some of your aid, just like old times. What's up, Conrad G? You know we'd love to help, but the rains just came down last week, and we've been trying to fix our place. Plus, we're setting up this new irrigation system, just trying to get up and running, so we just don't have the time to make it downtown this time. But I promise you, man, we will be sure to help out next time. Okay, T, but you know this is the third time this happened. What happened to Solidarity Forever? Yo, of course, man, of course. Solidarity Forever, but we're just too busy, you know? Don't worry, we always got love for you. We'll support the movement when things settle down for us here at the commune, but for now, we have our own fires to put out.
But year after year, there was always a cause. Why the commune folk couldn't partake in class wars. They shrunk to the background, doing their own thing, until the phone of revolution no longer did ring. A year or two down the line, money got tight. With no allies or comrades, new ambitions were in sight.
I think we should start a farmer's market.
Before long, these radicals took another tacit turn. A bed and breakfast was born with the money they'd earn. Book a stay, one and all, at the Bread Book B&B. You pay for your room, the utopia's free. They once were merry, they once were gay, but they forgot to oppose, and they lost their way. Oppose and propose.
Yep, literally. Makespaces are so good. I've been finding my local library run Makespace so useful. Yep, for sure. I've not been to one personally, but I heard they're really good. Fave mutual aid events are styling workshops for trans people working with free clothes store. It's my favorite in the entire world. Hell yeah. Some good news right now. A transphobic movie in Edinburgh showing was stopped by the uni students today. Let's fucking go. Good to hear. Good to hear. Love it. If you bring up children in a non-hateful way, they won't hate over nothing. Imagine that. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Found out about Andrewism's channel recently and I really like it. There'll be a mutual aid market this weekend in my city and I'll attend. Very excited. Yes, fucking brilliant. Like, this is the thing. It's like, you know, this is why it's so important to just like have channels that are leftist that just don't do dunks and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like we absolutely have to criticize people who are sat there going, well, you know, this is my 18th video on Dave Rubin. This is my 19th video on why Trump is an idiot. Like, this is my 576th video on why you need to vote Democrat and give them your money. Yeah, I don't have any stakes in that whatsoever. I don't run a super PAC or anything like that. What are you talking about? You know, shit like this. Like, this is why you have to criticize people like that, because what are you fucking doing? You know what I mean? Are you inspiring people to go out and do real change, or are you just like sort of sitting there and being like, yes, everything's shit? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, too much counter, not enough culture. I agree. Yeah, it gets all the views. It gets all the views because it adheres to people's ideas, right? Do you know what I mean? It adheres to people's ideals of like, well, you know, I don't have to do anything. I literally just don't have to do anything. I just have to do what's in the system already, and that's it. You know? Hey, Anchor Mandy, welcome to the stream. How you doing?
Propose and oppose. Confrontation, non-cooperation, and prefiguration. A variety of organizations and individuals undertaking a variety of roles, tactics, and strategies in a variety of settings in concert to develop the revolution. Supporters unable to directly engage help and fund the projects of these movements. Ultimately, the social revolution is a movement from below, by and for the oppressed to achieve their own freedom. It is an ongoing process to make society more diverse, open, and free, expanding pockets of social change around the world until new examples of what life could be are made known to all. Remember that even in struggle, it's not just serious business. Revolution can and should be fun.
Hell yeah.
A carnival of the oppressed. It's about making life worth living. It's about emancipating people. As Emma Goldman said, if I can't dance, it's not my revolution.
Yes, and again, that's what it's about. It's about making the revolution irresistible. Like, it's bread and circuses. That's what we need. Like, you can't just survive on bread alone. This is why what we do when it comes down to direct action, when it comes down to organizing, mutual aid, networking, all this kind of stuff, it can't just be like boring. Read the fucking theory, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. You've got to make these actions fun. Like, if you don't get anything out of helping someone win a dispute with a landlord, why are you doing it? Do you know what I mean? If you're not actually like buzzing to like see a landlord go an eviction resistance, then like, why are you doing it? Like, there are people out there who want to do it. You know what I mean? So let them do it. Let them do it. Essentially, it's one of those things, and we do have to build culture as well. It's about building culture, leftist culture. Sophie spoke about this like a couple of months ago, I think even last year. We have to build leftist culture, and like that leftist culture isn't just like people doing videos on the internet. It's like people making music about leftism. It's like people putting on events where people can like, you know, network and hang out and get to know each other, like films, video games, all this kind of stuff. You know, I would love people to make a video game where the thank you for the follow, where like the actual, I guess, what would I call it? The sort of thing, the story of the video game is like not a revolution. The story is something else, but it's based in an anti-capitalist world, so people can like see a world that exists that isn't capitalist, right? just so like you could show people that that is possible, right? Shit like that. Also, hi Middle Earth Marxist. I forgot to say hi to you. How you doing? I saw you in the chat earlier.
Remember that it always seems impossible until it is done.
That's right.
All power to all the people. Peace. I haven't felt this good in a really long time.
Mutual aid Stardew Valley. You know what, Lorelei? That's actually such a good point to bring in there. You might not have even thought you were making a point there, but you did. And you could make a mod where you just like remove money from Stardew Valley and have like, you know, like make it like a survival game where you've got like hunger and, you know, thirst, and like, you know, turn it into kind of like The Sims kind of thing. I don't know, like it's kind of one of those. I'm a beginner musician, but I really want to make 2 albums, and one of my experiences as a trans person and an anarchist narrative one. I'm less sure about my ideas on that one though. Yeah, and if you just start it, you will manage it. You know? Sounds like the basis of Le Guin's The Dispossessed. There's probably loads of books out there about this stuff. But, you know, I'm going to say it. Thank you for the follow. I'm going to say it. Books are boring. I'm sorry. They are. They're entertaining in some respects for some people, but some people find it really hard to get into them, and that's just the facts, right? That's unfortunately just the facts. You know, we have to make a collective amount of media. Sorry, not a collective. We have to make a larger amount of media that people can engage with that just aren't books, because people will like look at a book and they'll be like, oh yeah, like there's loads of words in here and I have to use my brain to understand it and shit like that, you know? Yeah, I love books and I still struggle to get into them. Yeah. Allergic to non-fiction books. Allergic to fiction books. I'm allergic to all books, yeah. So Ancom Andy in the chat says, making online communities is important, and those can be built around good commentators that are online. I'm lucky that my leftism started by going to protests, but not everyone is capable of doing that. You need good arguments from the debate bros that you seem to hate so much. Well, Ancom Andy, I'm really sorry that you're like hung up on a video that I made 3 months ago that I literally don't give a fuck about. What I would say is that the only good argument that I ever really listen to is your dad when he tells me that he wants me to fuck him in the ass, and that's it, basically. I don't know, like you say that you go to protests and stuff, I would argue that you do more of that than sort of like defend paedophiles, you know, people who have made arguments on the internet to say that child porn is fine, to say that like the age of consent should be lowered and all that, you know. Not saying that they are paedophiles, but they've made arguments that paedophiles would make, haven't they? So I'd probably spend less time doing that and going out and doing those protests. So there you go. Yeah, good ideas from debate bros. What an oxymoron. Anyway, moving on from that. So yeah, that's like, you know, what we need to do. Literally what we need to do. We need to sort of like make broader media that people can engage with rather than just books, because they're boring. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. I know that Sophie's probably listening and she's going, no, Muel, what the fuck? Like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm saying it. Like, you know, I don't get enjoyment from them. You know what I get enjoyment from? I get enjoyment from watching Nuke's Top 5 on, you know, on YouTube at night when I'm in bed. That's it. Like, that's what I get enjoyment from. So, anyway.
These days, me and some friends of mine have been really working hard on trying to get some new irrigation systems in place in the community commons so that we can really grow our food here.
No, I know, Shafiq. Listen, no, I'm not. Listen, I'm not like saying that you're wrong to suggest that. I'm just kind of like, yes, I'm saying like, yes, there's a lot of representation of like anti-capitalist societies that are like under, you know, authors of, yeah, you know, okay, you know, I don't need to I'm not going to explain it. Right, okay, you know. All right, good. There you go.
To have,
Done.
the farming cooperatives working with us across the region, but we also want to make sure that we have built our resilience locally as well, and we've really restored the...
You're also allowed to like books, by the way. Just because I don't like them doesn't mean that you can't. But there's lots of people who don't, and that's it, right?
The versatility and complexity of our local ecology. Our cities have gotten more walkable. Our grasses look so much greener, probably because they've been so interwoven with a diversity of native flora. And it's just been a treasure to breathe air and bask in the atmosphere of the city. Look at how far we've come.
Man, I hear that. Who would have thought that a little bit of pressure from a couple well-timed protests, a little elbow grease.
Yeah, you should do that, Jar Lesbian. That'd be awesome. That'd be rocking.
Clocking 9 to 5s to running workplaces by us and for us. Now we have access to the commons, where we can spend more time doing the things we love with the people we love. Honestly, it's great.
All that's cool and all, guys, but personally, I don't think the struggle's over. There's still systems of power that we need to look into. We still don't listen to women as much as we should. We still don't cater to the disabled as much as we should. There's social intricacies that we have to unpack in order to truly move forward and have a better tomorrow.
I agree. I mean, we've made it so far already. We've revolutionized our education, our economy, our ecology, our society as a whole. The way we engage in politics is so fundamentally different. And yet, there's still work to be done. There's still systems that will take probably generations to uproot. And yet, I feel like we're going in a positive direction. You know what I mean?
We're gonna get there.
When you say it like that, I have hope.
Hope for the future like never before. Thanks to Colormind T and...
So... Oh, it was Colormind, the other person in that video. Amazing. So yeah, go check out Turb and Colormind as well. They're both amazing creators. I think you can just find like YouTubers by their ats now. So at TRRRB and at Colormind as well. At colormind.mp4. Important to put that in there. So, you know, at them on Twitter. And I'm sure that you'll see that. Okay, don't click that link, whatever that link is. I'm sure it's probably fine, regardless. But anyway, there you go. There's that video. And again, let's not forget. Oh my God, there's so many links in the fucking chat that I was putting in from all the fucking tenants unions before. Right. Go and give Andrewism a big fucking thumbs up. Go and give him a subscribe. Fucking literally give him a comment. Play the video again. Watch the video again. Really, really important. Really, 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 really important because that video is great. You know, at the end there as well, he literally did the thing that we were talking about, which is this like imagination of the leftist future that we want to see, and we need to see more of that. Even if he did it as like a tiny little thing at the end of a video, he still did it, and it's something that we really have to like think about a lot, like a lot, you know? So how are we doing, chat? How are we all good? What's going on? What's going on in the chat? Let's have a vibe check in the chat. It has been a wonderful stream, but, you know, unfortunately, thank you for the follow. Unfortunately, I started late today. It's, you know, it's not exactly, you know, it's not exactly a long stream, and I'm sorry about that, chat. I do really apologize. I would like to say at this point, though, that, like, I am, streaming. I'm streaming out here. I'm out here streaming. I make the majority of my money through streaming. If you do or are being financially capable, I would like you to consider subbing off Twitch. The link is there in the chat as of now. I would ask you to sub off Twitch for multiple reasons. One being that they do not listen to the voices of marginalized people, and if they do, it takes them more than a year to actually act on those suggestions. Please consider, if you are financially able, to support me on my Streamlabs link, which is in the chat. It's the tip link. Not only does it mean that you're not giving money, 50% of all subs go to Twitch and a certain amount of bits as well. And it means that you're not giving money to an organization that doesn't really care, not just about marginalized streamers, but also about smaller creators as well, and doesn't really like care about, you know, sort of helping them get bigger and helping them build a better audience and learning how to be better and stuff like that. So please consider donating 100% of the amount that you would donate to me, your boy, which is what happens when you donate via the sub off Twitch command in the chat by clicking that link. It means that 100% of the money that you spend does come to me, and that means that I can live. It means that I can eat food. It means that I can, you know, take my partner out on dates. It means that I can pay my bills. It means that I can pay my rent, etc., etc. If you don't want to support me via the sub off Twitch command in chat, then you can also support me on Patreon, which is one of the links in the social commands there. I just released a Patreon behind the scenes collection of images from some filming that I did today for my next video, which I'm very, very, very excited about. It's looking good. It's looking very, very good. And yeah, that's it basically. That's all I've got to say. So please consider supporting the stream. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow. We're gonna go and raid someone right now. And I think the person that we're going to raid is going to be Rach. I don't think I've raided Rach in like fucking 6 months, but I'm finishing stream before she does, so she's fucking getting it. That's how it works. Don't rage quit. It's absolutely wonderful. She's a wonderful, beautiful Scottish streamer. She's playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet right now. Scarlet or Violet? I don't really know how it works, but there you go. And thank you so much, everybody who's been. Thank you so much, everybody who's been here in the stream today. Thank you, everybody who's supported me today. Thank you for all the. Whoa! It's a donor at the end of the stream.
The streaming.
The cheat 1312. Thank you so much for the £10, and thank you so much for supporting me. I saw that I was in your top 4. Thank you so much for supporting me with your time on Twitch this year. I really appreciate everyone who's been in my stream and I'm in their top 4. Like, it means the fucking world. Your time is invaluable. Like, you can't fucking put a price on it. So thank you so much, everybody who's been lurking. Thank you so much, everybody who's, like I say, donated today. Thank you so much, everybody who raided. Thank you, Marina, for the raid. Thank you to any of the subs. It's obviously, I appreciate subs as well. Thank you for the lurkers, and thank you, everybody on YouTube, for watching the VOD and supporting me that way. I will see you tomorrow. Mwah. Stay excellent to each other, and peace.
Board games?